People often ask me, why do I do what I do? And I think the quickest way to answer is talking about my experiences. Because see, at some point I felt depressed, at some point I felt anxious, at some point I felt, out of alignment, out of myself, out of my purpose, or lost, very lost. I felt really lost. But then here's the thing, my attitudes, my actions, and my desire to become someone else or to be more aligned to my purpose was the key and the answer to these type of questions, right? Like, I remember myself being a very happy child. I was a very happy child in a very, I will say, humble society. My parents, they weren't rich, but they weren't poor. Like, compared with the neighbors and the people around them, they were quite established. They were positioned. They had a house. They were longing. On that time, we didn't need much of a car back then. In the 90s, 80s, I don't know, wherever we were living, right? It wasn't much of a need of a car or many things, but we did have a washing machine. We have like TVs and, all the gaming stuff. And I remember that the most important thing was the communication and the interaction that I had with my family, though I went through so many bullying. And here is where I want to start. Since I was a child, I was suffering from my friends or enemies. You name it, you tag it, put them the name that you want to, that you wish to. And I was the focus of bullying. I remember myself to arrive home every time when I went to school. Back from school, right? I remember to feel really exhausted, really sad, kind of depressed, even in my early ages, right? And I remember that I took it to myself. I closed the door and I kind of cried myself out, cried my life out, actually. And my mom was always there for me. My dad was always there for me. They did what they could, but there are things that as a mother or as a father you wouldn't be able to help your child with more than you will try and be there as a support, right? But me, I see it from now. I was building up my personality right now. And the reason why why I am here is that those times kind of build up one upon the other to create the person that I am today, so that I can talk about everything I went through to help others that are going through similar things. And here's the thing, that's not the only bullying that I received. Like I am a different person. Wherever I go, I am weird. You could call me weird. But within my weirdness, I feel that I am aligned to my purpose because I own it. Because I know who I am and because I know where I'm going. But it wasn't until a couple of years ago where I realized I am purposely made to help people suffering from anxiety, depression, and any draining feeling that may stop you as a person to become the one that you want to become. But it required a lot of mind bending back and forward, a lot of fitness in my mind. And that's why I am here helping people. That's why I even created a company called ZYGER Fitness for the Mind, because we roll together, because I want to help people that are going through anxiety, depression, or any draining circumstances that might stop them from becoming the one that they want to become, the one that is happy and aligned, the one that despite and regardless of the circumstances is still able to stand up on their own feet and own their life and own their actions and own their purpose and act accordingly to achieve their goals and dreams. Because see, when I was a child, I was really bullied. I mean, bullied, it was things that my friends or enemies came up with to call me names that made me feel devalued, to call me in certain ways that made me feel that I wasn't valued by them, that my value wasn't a thing for them. I was rejected in so many ways, and so many people as well when I was growing up, being a teenager, display ways of racism to my persona, to my being, and I felt sad too. I remember when I got married, after I got married with my ex-husband, right? We went to live in this country where many people look at me and despise me and dislike me just because of the color of my skin. I was being the focus of a racist community, or a racist, not community, but many people around. Because there were many kind people too, but when you are at the middle of racism, you kind of don't see much of the goodness around, but you see the rejection, you feel it on your skin, you see the things that are happening, right? Until I learned that I have to align to my purpose, I have to pay more attention to the things that are important. Because you see, sometimes we are driven by the noise of the life, we are driven by the noise of many people being mean to you, but in reality, if you have one person that's being mean to you, there's gonna be like 5 of them being either kind or neutral or kind to you. So really, I learned that I don't need to pay as much attention to those people rejecting me, but for those that are accepting my life, that are accepting my intervention, are accepting me as a person, and that's it, really. That is one of the things that I learned and that I tested and proven to be, helpful, proven to be aligned to help you and to help me, because I put it into practice, to become the one that I am today, and for you to become the one that you desire. Because here's the thing, once you close the door for the noise outside, your house will be, listening the music or displaying the music that you wish. I'm just using an example here, because if there is a lot of noise outside and the windows and the doors are open to receive that noise, you wouldn't be able to hear clearly the important messages that are around you. And that is what applied to my life. Because I went through a lot of things, a lot of disappointment, a lot of anxiety, a lot of the pressure, but I am still here. I'm still standing. Yeah. Yes, I'm still standing because I learned that I have to close the door to the noise that's coming from the outside and pay more attention to the messages and to the ideas, to the thoughts, to the mindsets that are aligned and helping me to become the one that I want to become. Like, for example, I had a really bad time COVID season. It was really bad, and I can only imagine how bad was those already suffering from anxiety and already having some health difficulties. My apologies, I can't even imagine it. But I can see it from my point of view. I know what I went through, and I can only say it was really bad. It was bad for everyone. That was the point where I got into depression. Man, I feel bad. I feel that any effort that I was gonna do, or that I was planning, or that I was doing was useless. I felt useless. My mind felt useless. My effort felt useless because, let's be real, that was a really bad time for many people. And the worst thing wasn't even talked about. Like for one person that was suffering from COVID, there were at least 5 people suffering from anxiety and depression and any other symptoms because they were worried to what was going to happen to that person. And imagine if that person passed away on that season. The anxiety, the bad feeling, the feeling down, man, that is even more dangerous than any other germ, than any other COVID, than any other branch, or any other variation of COVID, because your body depends 100% on what you think, or it depends 100% on your mindset of what you think about yourself and the people around you. So that is why it's so important to have the right mindset, the correct thing in your mind, so that it projects outside to your body and you become the healthier person that you can, the best person, the best version of yourself. But then back onto my story, what I was saying, it was when I got depression, when I realized that I needed to do something. But here's the thing, many people don't want to admit that they are going through depression. Many people don't want to admit that they are going through anxiety or anxious thoughts, or they are taking way too long into their mind thinking about something that is stressing them out. Yet in that time, I didn't want to admit, because of my background, cultural background, I didn't want to admit I was going through depression. Because since I was a child, I was a strong child, didn't I? I put the things on the table and I deal with them, and then that's it. But reality is, man, until you realize, or until you kind of confess, you say that you're going through those things, you wouldn't be able to do anything about it. And the quicker you admit that, the quicker you will go out of that.